actually has a negative effect. Which is mind-boggling. I know,
I'm not going to wade into your personal spat with or without their former coach, but
it definitely shows the strategies have not been in play. The fact that they picked Clubhouse so many times, Clubhouse so many times, knowing that they're just not great on it. Just ban it. You have the opportunity to do it. It's a best of one. You have an advantage in it, and just not there. But 2 first bans, Dokkaebi, interestingly enough, will be the first one off the board from the attackers, and guess what? Hibana's going to be the second, so no surprise on that second op. Echo as well, not surprising anybody on the face of this planet, and then Rise Nation will go for the last ban. We might see a Pulse, might see a Maestro, Valkyrie, all operators that are possible, and the Maestro will combo out with the Echo, as again, Maestro, the highest ban operator in North America at over 75% at this point. We used to talk about EU and banning Mira. Well, I think NA now have found their way with Maestro.
Yeah. Slash was actually talking about this during the 6 Invitational qualifiers, that attacking Bank with both hard breachers available, and obviously Maverick is a hard breacher, but he doesn't fulfill that same role. With both a Thermite and Hibana, it makes a number of sites on Bank very uncomfortable to sit in, particularly the CCTV site downstairs alongside lockers. Now, bringing a Maverick, as Rogue is currently doing in Shuttle's hands, means that one of those hatches will at least be taken care of. Likely the hatch that's inside of the office next to open area. But I mean, that's really up to the teams to use it a certain way, and then you'll have Maverick possibly poke a couple holes in the CCTV hatch from above as well. Very first defense for Rise Nation will be downstairs on CCTV. No surprise to see a Pulse on the board for Rise, though it's surprising whose hands that operator will be in. Beastly is typically the man who will run the Pulse for Rise Nation, but it's going to be England.
What in tarnation is that?
I suppose the reasoning behind it is that you're going to have England likely sitting on site. England typically does play an anchor role. He's going to be doing most of the primary calling for the team. Pulse is going to play as an anchor. He's going to sit inside a gold. He's going to give the team all the calls. And that actually might work really well for the IGL to have Pulse in his hands. It's similar to what we see out of Canadian. We also see somewhat from FaZe as well, having, what is it, Mav play the Pulse downstairs inside of gold too. So it makes an awful lot of sense. It's just something that is a little out of the ordinary in terms of Rise Nation's composition, because they love putting Beastly on that role.
The Tarnation that I was speaking of, if you guys did not quite catch that, is the 1014 being played by the Pulse.
Not the UMP?
Yes. Now, actually, this ties in very well with what you were saying, because he's going to be playing more of an anchor operator and sitting in the back of the gold vault, giving information and coordinating his teammates. It's okay to bring that extra shotgun for you for any setups. And that CCTV defense requires a lot of setup. There's a lot of the quote-unquote SimCity that you have to do as a defender. So grabbing the extra shotgun that'll help you out with that would make sense. Theoretically, it is definitely something that you can do. Now, will it actually come into play? We'll have to see. And there you get the demonstration. If you did not know, the Maverick can insta-burn a shield. Let's put it in that position. Flash will come in as it will get burned out. But all the ADSs that are being used by Rise Nation, I think all 3 of them actually were set up in there. All the flashes have been thrown in, and we'll burn the ADS pretty easily. Ghost can fall back whenever he wants. In the instant this hatch is open here in the Skyline, this should force the smoke back. But no, Ghost is going to stick to the same position and might likely die for this.
This is terrible for Ghost right now, and there you go. That is a bad play. The moment that hatch started to go off over top of server, you need Ghost to be able to get out of there. But a great response from England, who's actually not playing inside of gold. He's playing all the way up inside of servers, very aggressively, has the shotgun at his disposal. He'll get droned out, and the fact that he has the shotgun in his hands, given away by taking out that drone. So that sound cue from Rogue, they know that there's going to be the Pulse there, and he doesn't have much of a contest. Say goodbye as England falls to Eclipse, and Rise Nation, a head-scratcher early on with 2 crucial operators being thrown away on Rogue's entry towards the site.
One thing, oh no, nicely done from Vandal here to at least take down one. This is a shot we've seen quite a few players run vertical to kill off of it, and we'll take down Vandal in this situation, leaving only Beastly and Hyper last 2 alive. One thing I want to highlight is that England, actually, back when Elevate were the thing at Gamescom Finals, he played the Doc shotgun on tellers and actually did a decent amount of work. I believe at least a 2K in that situation. In this case, the Pulse is not going to do anything, and it's all because Rise were not able to retreat fast enough, identifying the position, but Hyper will find it. Vertical going down of the vertical play, if anything, on the hatch. Basically, with no Nitro Cell in hand, will have to rely on his teammate as well to give him an extra angle to contest any players in the back. And they're unsure because of that small hole that have been opened up by the Maverick. The shuttle is still upstairs. Might try to long arm it in the position, and it's pretty much your only shot. A shuttle will turn around. He's trying to find the Valkyrie, and that's the shot. He'll take it. He'll make it happen. Hyper, last man alive. The contestant shuttle will find the second, giving a Claymore in front of him to try and slow things down. The Ash coming in last second there, just in case shuttle needed reinforcements. Well done by Rogue. And Rise Nation trying to think out of the box. Unfortunately, it's no Solid Snake in this spot.
That round was won and lost within the first 30 seconds of the push. Having a smoke on those stairs, we've seen a couple teams run it, always a questionable decision. Because you need to rely very heavily on that smoke living long enough to get 1 or 2 picks and then still manage to fall back to site safely. Because at some point, the attackers are going to pressure you from that specific area. It's very unlikely that the remaining attackers, should your smoke on server stairs get a couple kills, it's unlikely that the rest of the attackers will fall off and go for a vault drop or go for a push through garage. You just won't have the time at your disposal. And it's very unlikely that your smoke is going to sit there and be able to collect more than 1 or 2 kills, because there's just more utility on the attackers to make the life of the smoke incredibly awful. Then also having the pulse play inside of servers, once you lost the pulse, you lost most of your cheap intel. Now, the one good thing about Pulse is that you don't necessarily need him as much because of a really well-placed Valkyrie camera that we actually just saw from Beastly. So there's a position that you can throw the Valkyrie camera inside of CCTV, where we saw the Valkyrie cam go, that is virtually impossible for the attackers to shoot unless getting very close to it. It's going to be right here on the right of Beastly, just behind him, underneath the paneling on the ceiling. That means that you don't necessarily need a pulse, because that camera can persist for most of the round, give you the information that you need, and your pulse can go somewhere else. A lot of teams will still put a pulse inside a goal because it's a good place to be, and he has the C4 for ultimate plant denial. But once you lose the smoke and the pulse, Rogue took what? We saw 1 of the impacts from her lifeline, Zophia's lifeline. We saw 2 of the stuns, and we saw an exothermic charge go onto the CCTV or on the server's hatch. That was it. That's all it took. And you have both the pulse and the smoke gone.
Why? Why was it complicated later for the attackers to deal, or for the defenders to deal with things? Because at that point, because you lost your instrumental utility operators, i.e. the pulse and the smoke, you were reduced to only peeking and fighting in gunfights. And those are not things that you have a distinct advantage in because of the amount of angles that the attackers now have on you. In this situation, the Rise Nation are attempting a similar setup to what they had before, again, on the same site. I really hope that England is not bringing that shotgun, as it really was not doing much for this one.
He did indeed have the shotgun on his hands. So it's going to be an interesting way to see exactly what happens here, as Ghost is going to play on the exact same server stairs. Utility for Rogue, very similar. There's an ADS that will need to be burned. Ghost anticipates the shot, doesn't get it right. If they can open up that hatch inside of server again, then Ghost is essentially a dead man.
Using 2 smoke canisters when you know, yeah, there we go. The hatch is going to get opened, and the instant it happens, he has to fall back. He can't contest in here, as it's not really something he has enough information to play off of. The grenade's going to force him back, because of course the ADSs have already been burned, and that's the last gas canister being used. And they even track him. They know exactly where he's at.
I will say, though, Ghost is playing this a lot better. Look at the clock. There's just over a minute left. Not that much. We're about to hit the minute mark any second now, and Ghost is still there. 4 drones have been thrown his way. An ADS has been taken out, sure, and Ghost has used all of his toxic canisters, but Rogue are no closer to getting into the site. And Slash will take Ghost down, but you've still got England here inside of servers. He has also not been flushed out, and there's 45 seconds to go. C4 in hand, looking to get 1 kill. England will miss, but he's gonna have to take a fight at close range. This shotgun is obviously not the most powerful. As another drone gets thrown in, a down on the Slash. This is gonna be a final stand for England here. 30 seconds left, and finally Rogue will recover. Slash will need to be picked up. Eclipse has lost a lot of HP, but time very firmly on the side of Rise Nation. and this will have to be a very quick transition for Rogue. To open up that CCTV wall, still plant denial in hand for Beastly, holding that C4. Vandal takes out Eclipse. Beastly in position, just waiting for the call. Oh, another beautiful shot from Vandal. Smoke going out, Diffuser is down, nobody to pick it up. It's a slugfest as Slash takes down Hyper. Rise is getting their kills in as Beastly and Vandal pick up 2, and Vertical does end up taking down Beastly, but a very interesting final couple seconds, and I think that is what Rise Nation was looking for more of. They do an excellent job, and you can credit Ghost there for a lot of that success.
Yep. It's a clear contrast to what happened in the first round. He got too aggressive, pushed up very close to the doorway, and then was easily shot down. In this case, the minimum he got was that time being wasted. And that was the big criticism of the very first round. So, I'm excited to see if Rise continue on these sort of strategies as we move on in these rounds. We're going to go for Teller's Archives on the first floor. And Pulse will still be available here. Got to run Vandal on the operator this time, and England will move away to the Vigil. So, now you'll be seeing some roam play combining Beastly and England. Additionally having Vandal as well relaying information. Now a big part of this is also holding on to the top floor, and what's interesting is that there's a rotation hole opened up in the admin office, which means that the hatch upstairs in Janitor should get opened just in case there's a rotation needed for the defenders to walk on down. So this all signifies
10 seconds remaining.
We're going to hold on to CEO for as long as possible, hold on to Janitor at least, and then rotate down once things get a bit too hairy for us. And we'll still have protection with the castle barricade in open area, but also a rotation hole that allows us to enter the archives again and support our teammates in the potential final push. The Rogue brings Slash on the Blackbeard. That's going to be a big one.
If Rogue can very quickly clear out that top floor, grab control, and then transition in towards the main stairs where we saw the bottom of the wall towards the site being shot out at the bottom of main stairs. It's a very common place for it to get shot out because you're usually going to have an ACOG or somebody playing on the other side by the stairs. Then this will go very quickly for Rogue because you can just collapse on the site. But, I mean, Bank being a huge map, it's going to take any good team a minute to a minute and a half just for very basic map control, no matter what tools you have. Unless you're the 92 Dream Team and you clear it with a blitz and you just decide to flying V your own way in.
Yeah.
Now, Rogue's got a lot of utility here at their disposal, but the biggest thing is you noted that Blackbeard. The killing potential for Slash and Shuttle on those two operators is very high for Rogue.
See if they can actually use the operator to their advantage. This hole in the wall has been opened up into the CEO area. Going to drone out the Janitor. Unfortunately, they're not too astute on the position of the Vigil in trading, so that's something you're going to have to keep in the back of your mind. Watching this is England can just use any information to his advantage in this situation, and indeed he's walking closer and closer to the hallway. Nobody in there as, oh, there you go, Slash the Blackbeard almost instantly eliminated in the headshot. Shuttle taken down. England pre-firing the side as he's trying to bait Vertical into Hyper, but that's Hyper to lose at the gunfight. Nobody had contested the Vigil on the back, but Vandal will use that opportunity to move up from the stairs and get one kill for himself. Still trying to push up to England, who's on his own. No one to support him just yet, at least close up. Jackal has no information that he can use, not even able to scan the floors. I'm not sure if he can even spot a footprint here for him to use. Fires into the wrong location, but he's going to get spotted and shot down from the back. That's 3 kills for England in Clips. Last man alive here will get fired upon by Beastly. The Valkyrie on the opposite end. Tellers will go for the gunfight. England takes a lot of damage and even chucks out a Pokeball into Eclipse. That will not catch, and we'll have to rotate around. 34 seconds on the clock. Not much you can do, but still nabbing a kill on England. You can at least open up the side of the wall here and enter through Tellers, but look at the amount of utility on the other. Look at the amount of operators sitting on the other side. There's not much you can do in that situation. The smoke even forcing the Clips back for just a bit more. He's trying to fight that
15 seconds remaining.
really tough situation, but he has no information. He's going to have to walk in blind, and so little time left in the clock, and everybody hiding behind reinforcements. The C4 is going to greet him. He somehow survives it, but will it be enough? No. Ghost will take him out from below, actually, I believe. No, right next to him.
got the kill and then dropped.
Yep. Very nice Renton play.
Nope. There for Rogue, that one's very similar to the way that Rise Nation lost it in the first 30 to 40 seconds playing on the server stairs. The same thing happened to Rogue there. Their inability to drone out England, I don't know if that was just simply they didn't know where the Vigil was playing, or they just didn't dedicate any resources. Vigil's cloaking ability is not infinite, so at some point it's going to disappear, and you know that you're going to be able to get a ping on where the Vigil is playing, or at least the basic area of which he will be playing in, if you can't actually see him physically. Rogue just did not appear to know where he was at all. And great read from England to get the kill on the player of Slash,
Attackers need to locate
exiting
and defuse
Janitor,
as many bombs as they can.
and then also able to take out the immediate entry point from Shuttle, who came in to try and avenge his teammate. England, MVP of that round in particular. Great job. And I'd also imagine that you can give him a lot of commendation for the first 2 rounds. Maybe not the first because it fell apart for Rise Nation very fast, but that second round, the first victory that they had downstairs on Lockers, CCTV, England being inside a server with the cardiac sensor round, he's able to give Ghost all the info that Ghost is going to need to be able to put that smoke shotgun to good use, coupled with the ADS and the toxic canister. So overall, England pulling his weight in this matchup in particular. And also a good performance from Ghost, who came in, filled the role of Vertical, who's now playing on Rogue, and Ghost stats this season for somebody who was largely tasked with getting kills and playing that hyper-aggressive role to a certain extent that he was taking off of Vertical. His stats have been nowhere near where they need to be for that level of contribution in that specific role. So,
A bomb
a good start for Rogue here. Picking up both Beastly and England, and those are both, as Easily would always say, oh baby, a freebie.
He doesn't say oh baby, it's just he corrected me.
When did he correct me?
Twice.
He never corrected
Oh,
me.
he did? Oh! Shuttle finds it.
Bomb located by attackers.
Vandal is going to go down, and yeah, it's a lost round for Rise Nation here, as their heart is in the right place. They dedicate more roam play for the top floor. Unfortunately, that really does not go their way. They're just playing outside of the site, and there's nobody on it. They're trying to contest so many positions, as you've seen how much more aggressive the defenders have been getting nowadays. It's just, well, you're going to have to face ACOGs. You got to go down. Ghost gets a kill on Eclipse. It's a big kill. He killed the only hard breacher in this situation, but easily will get even one more. That's 3 on the board for him, and Hyper is the last man alive. Guess where he is? Rotating back up from the main lobby, the mirror window being used against him, or potentially can be used against him. The walk into the front desk. He'll have to peek into Janitor, as at least he'll have another mirror window to spot anybody in through that position. Does have a bulletproof camera, I believe, in the hallway. I'll get fired upon by the Al in the back, by the Zofia in the back, and easily. That's 4 kills at the end of the round. Wonderfully done by Zofia.
Don't even need to get the diffuser down at all.
Nope.
Stark contrast actually to our first matchup, in which we saw the diffuser, like I mentioned, get planted 9 of 11 rounds. So far, we've had it go down once here, and it was on the very initial Lockers take that we saw from Rogue onto that Lockers CCTV site, getting the plant down in the CCTV wall, right next to the CCTV wall that Thermite usually takes out. Now, Tellers was successful for Rise. They went to CEO, a site that has seen it quite, pardon the pun, rise in play. But you're not going to go back there when you got Lockers CCTV open again. England on this pulse, with Ghost back on the smoke, a Valkyrie from Beastly is a 6 pick. I would imagine that was some mental gymnastics that were going on there with Rise and Rogue, or mental gamesmanship, as the castle usually doesn't see any play on CCTV and Lockers downstairs. Obviously, 6 picking onto the Valkyrie will buy you a little bit of time, but Rogue is going to determine the site location pretty quickly here. I'm very curious to see if Rise is going to do the exact same thing with the pulse of the smoke, because it did not work at all the first round. It worked a lot better the second one, but third time, coin flip, how is it going to end up working out for them this time? Because I'd imagine we're going to see more of a dedicated utility dump from Rogue, and with Slash on the Ying, it's probably a good guess.
Yeah, I would expect Rise to be more active now, as they kind of gotten into the groove of things. After the first couple rounds, they saw that they could secure rounds in their own way. And so now, what they're going to try to do is potentially get more aggressive against Rogue early on, as they saw Yeah, even when they're defending Teller's Archives, just the instant they can find a hole in Rogue's attack, which is, oh, they didn't drone out a certain position, well, they can capitalize on it pretty darn easily. And it was very interesting how Rise really were able to send players to support the Vigil playing solo in that round, just to have someone from another angle watching for him, and it did end up working very well for the squad. And here, though, Rogue are taking their sweet time and droning everything. And again, it's not just because Bank is a big map, but also the fact that they are afraid of said potential roam, which in this case is actually not coming out. Rise will at least gain something, which is actually much more important than giving credit to time. It really is your most important resource for defense or offense.
All right.
Smoke fell back here, I guess.
Good call.
No,
nope,
still there.
Ghost is still there. So, okay, interestingly enough, this could go very badly for Ghost yet again. He was on that last stand and he wasted a ton of time, and if you look at the clock, well, Rogue isn't really pressuring him for the time being. Rogue could actually completely go for a separate take, as Ghost just appears to be largely unshakable, getting right up to the doorway on server. Extremely aggressive despite the face of danger not being too far off. And in said face of danger, not always the wisest idea. Smoke will take a little bit of damage there from the explosive, and that sound cue so important for Rogue because they heard Smoke take that. They know that he's playing very close to the doorway, and he's going to have to retreat at some point. Double droned, killing a lot of time. Still, look at the clock. Just barely a minute left. This is very similar to what we saw last time. And if Rogue struggles again in this transition after being able to take out the Smoke, then that might be it. They will finally push the Smoke all the way down, but Slash is not fast enough. And also takes out a drone that could have been really useful on this server push that's going to have to come from Rogue as well.
It's so important that drone economy. One more has been used. The last remote gas canister. Eclipse will still find a kill, but look at the amount of time that's been lost. And England still not cleared. Candela eaten by the ADS. That's two of them now. Will fire red into the pulse. Has finally down and taken out, but at what cost? 40 seconds left. And we find ourselves in a very similar position to where we were just a few rounds ago.
Vandal holding that angle with the ACOG inside a garage could be a major factor, but no, Shuttle absolutely pulverizes him, leaving the two members of Rise in not the greatest of shape. Lots of plant denial here, and 1C4 as Hyper takes out Shuttle, so that's the flank watch gone from Rogue. But Rogue will have to start their plan, and they'll need to commit to it, not a lot of time. A great push from Slash, excellent play, will keep Hyper well off sight, but he has hatch control, and Hyper picks up two big kills. Diffuser's down, waiting to recover. He lights him up, but amidst the smoke, it's Slash finding the kill, and Rogue will recover after a very big scare. That's a big round for them. That's two in a row, and Rogue, oh my. Counting their lucky stars.
Oh yes, very much a tidal wave, the Red Menace at that point. If it wasn't for Slash making those split-second decisions, diving through, realizing that the last line of defense was that Valkyrie in the red hallway, diving right on top, finding the kills on her as she was very busy, at least waiting for information to chuck the C4 out and deny the plan, possibly get two players with so little time left on the clock. Yeah, Hyper, great bit of play, but again, Slash was on fire in that situation, goes in and gets an extra kill on top of it. I want to say, I said it a few times last week, but again, threads through hatch and gets the kill off of it. We've seen this a few times actually in the past few playdays where the players from the basement that are not supposed to win that gunfight easily end up doing it quite efficient. We saw it as well with Aces when we were watching you, so everybody's been practicing their bottoms up kind of play. And yeah, in preparation for Invitational, that is a very important thing to do. So that aside, it's like Tellers will be our last tight for this first half, and Rise are definitely looking for the tie in this one. The tie on Bank, which is already a fairly balanced map when it comes to both sides, is okay, especially the fact that the Echo and the Maestro are banned in this situation. Sure, there's the Habana on the play, which is going to slow you down on hatches, but otherwise, you can still do quite a bit of work by just having the Maverick and the Thermite.
Yeah, and it's really only going to cost you two hatches, one of which you're likely going to take. So, I mean, it's, you know, if you have Habana and Thermite, you can get the three hatches on the main floor, not including Skylight Stairwell. You can get the vault hatch if you really need. You could possibly get the elevator hatch. You can take out the two hatches in open area. You can take out the hatch over Skylight, or over top of servers rather, and then you can also take out one of the walls downstairs. So that's something that obviously with the Hibana available, you have a lot more flexibility. With a Thermite, you're typically going to take out the Skylight stairwell hatch that leads down into servers, then you're going to take out the CCTV doorway wall. With Maverick, you're going to take out the small office wall inside of open area, or the admin office, or whatever the different teams call it as. It just means that if you want to go for a vault drop, or if you want to try to take vault side of things, which is where the elevator hatch is as well, you need to be a little bit more careful, and your Thermite needs to go for that area rather than towards the back. Not really going to matter in this round in particular, though, because the final defense for Rise Nation will be Teller's Archives. Bold strategy. I mean, they won it, and they won it somewhat convincingly, but they had the opportunity to go back downstairs to lockers. And almost an early pick on England as the great drone work happens. Keep in mind, the last time that this site went for Rise, it was because England did not get droned out from above. He's been droned out quite thoroughly now, and Rogue knows that they can line up inside a lobby and keep somebody pressured onto that vigil.
That's exactly what they're going to do, using the Jackal very effectively here to tag England. It's a fairly equilibrium, fairly equal kind of situation right now when it comes to HP between both sides. Eclipse will waste no time breaking open that wall from tellers into the, or those front tellers into the back tellers. The smoke is going to get thrown out at the minute 5 time frame here. And Ghost's going to start using up as much as utility as possible, but look at that walk up. 2 players coming in from the side, both England and Hyper. We'll try to contest the top floor, which is the hot spot right now for Rogue. But look at Shuttle, he's ready for him, and he gets 1 kill off of it easily with the second. Fire right into him, and can't find the kill on the Hyper. He'll get shot down as Beastly will find 1 more, and Hyper will get another pistol whip there with the 5-7. 3v2 advantage now going the way of Rise Nation, but still, HP-wise, it is an equilibrium. How will they use this? Eclipse walking up the stairs. His use has pretty much been expended. That's the diffuser in hand, and no, he looks the other way, and Hyper gets 3 now on the board.
They'll force Slashug to go up the main stairs, and he's going to have to grab that diffuser. He's got the PMM out, knowing not exactly where Hyper's location is. Keep in mind this late in the round, you're flying blind at this point. The only real question is, does Slash be able to get towards the site fast enough? Well, he'll take out Hyper, but he's going to have to try and crawl on his belly and through the site, give his position away, and there's Ghost, pops up at the SMG-11. Down goes Slash, and both teams will emerge on the same footing that they started this matchup on. Tied. It's 3-3 as Rogue will now move on to defense.
Yeah, a ghastly round there for Rogue, I have to say. They had every advantage, as we saw before, and yet squandering it on those late rotations from Rise, which are very well played by Rise Nation, I have to say. This is not the same Rise we've been seeing the past few weeks, and I'm very happy that that's not the case, because they seem that they've learned that static play on the defense does not work anymore. That's an old one. It's not what you do in 2019. You gotta be more active. And the more you stay on the site, the less things become doable for you in such a situation. But a 3-3, a pretty good scoreline here for Rise Nation, who so far struggled in the season to put up any points on the board, let alone an entire victory. But we'll see if they can recover as Rogue are now on the defense. We switch on the halfway point. Rogue bringing that Mira, and of course, makes a lot of sense now that the Maestro, because the Maestro and the Echo are banned, you're going to see a ton of dock play, and this is something reflected in every single region. You might be asking why. Well, what does Easily have on the dock? He has a bulletproof camera. What does the bulletproof camera do? It gives you information and allows you as well to see through smoke. And also having those cameras, the black eyes as well, set in the fake ceiling, basically, that I was asking about.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
It's going to give you a ton of information. They're fairly well hidden because they actually see more than what you really can do against them. You have to walk up pretty close to find the angle to destroy those black eyes. So far, so good. Very well done in terms of utility for the setup from Rogue. Will that actually end up working for them? We'll have to see, as Beastly, of course, is bringing the Thatcher, so EMPs can easily shut those information utility down.
Interestingly enough, Thatcher's actually been quite absent from this match in particular, which, for how high his pick rate is a bit strange, though Thatcher is by no means a requirement whatsoever. I imagine if Kaid starts seeing quite a lot of play on that CCTV lockers, for example, taking one of his Electro Claws onto the hatch that we just saw on the screen inside of Skylight Stairwell, that a Thatcher will likely become a must pick, because how else are you going to take care of the electric claw? You have to push the stairs, and with how teams are contesting those stairs right now, it's not a given that you're going to be able to get that, get all the way down. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Guardian Nomads get banned like instantly, all the time.
Yeah.
In the second half, of course, these operators are not available. Theoretically, there's a minimum of 3 months probation period. So normally after Invitational, this should be brought into play, but that is something we'll have to see from now till then, as the changes and fixes, I guess, get worked on by Ubisoft. In the meantime, though, Rise Nation have wasted no time opening up the site and getting ready for a plant. Now, what's the main thing? Waste as much utility as humanly possible. I believe that Impact as well is able to take down one of the Black Eyes, but look at that. 3 C4s available for Rogue. They also have HP on easily to heal. The players also have Eclipse that is giving them information, and Shuttle with the smokes. Overall, Rogue are very well poised here to run down the clock very efficiently.
Bomb located by
no! Slash rotates out of gold from red and gets tagged quite a lot, but easily will be there to at least stim him back to almost full HP. The biggest problem is that now you've lost control of red and the mirror window. So all the ability that you had to deny the plant will be almost completely lost. You've also got the Jackal watching from above, waiting to drop down a smoke or two as the Buck will take point. Takes quite a bit of damage, though, from Easily, who's going to play the exact position as Vandal did. Rise Nation have 30 seconds to get this off with. And Vandal will start off. He tagged up Slash earlier on. He'll find his kill. Easily will have to push on up as smoke will obscure the sight. And on his belly, Easily sees the Jackal, takes him down. He'll grab 2, though, as he sprays through and takes out Ghost as well. England getting the plant down amidst the smoke will have no contest, and Rogue will lose control. We'll have to recover. Everybody from Rise Nation will vacate the site. Beastly from above. Great covering fire as Shuttle eliminates England, leaving one body of Hyper playing those CCTV and server stairs. Good coverage from Beastly, but he just misses his shots on the vertical. Hyper trades it off, but Shuttle vaults on up, and it's a big play from the smoke. A singular effort as he takes control with Eclipse still available, giving the intel needed with that pulse. That's an easy disable for Rogue. They'll regain the lead.
Wonderfully done here, the retake of Rogue. There's no information for Rise, drones, etc. to allow them to understand how the setup was being played in the back. And in that situation, it all came down to Easily's dock. Just trying to thin the ranks before the attackers have too much space to put themselves in a post-prime position, right? He comes in, puts himself on the floor. He finds 1 kill. I don't know how he gets the one in the back through the smoke, but that was a beautiful bit of blind fire, basically, as blind fire as it's going to get. Finds 2 kills off of it, able to heal the Mira just before the assault comes in, keeps everybody in check. And again, the fights from the bottom up are working very well for attack or defense.
To locate and defuse bombs.
I really have to credit it to really the defenders being able to find all the close shots that they should be able to win if the information is really correctly. Usually when you're in that position, you're like, okay, I know there's a player in open area office. I don't know if I can hit the shot on it. So usually when you're 3v2, you'll have someone rotating in from the backstairs trying to fight him. We see this a lot of times. I was expecting the Valkyrie to do so. Didn't happen. They went for the fight and still won it out. Huge props. The amazing amount of skill in gunfights that we've been seeing so far.
Also worth talking about was a pretty routine hold from Beastly above on that hatch was lost. It lost in a fight that a lot of times your attacker should win. When you're holding that hatch and you have that angle, the L85 is not a bad weapon. It's not like you're setting yourself at a disadvantage because the equipment in your hand is inferior. That probably should have been a victory for Beastly, even though he had taken quite a bit of damage. If you land your shots a little bit better, then you give a lot of breathing room for the rest of the team. And that aggressiveness that we saw from Rogue, that they capitalized on, to be able to flush out Hyper, who was playing on those server stairs, probably would have been a lot more reserved because they knew they would have been at a massive disadvantage with hatch control still for Rise. The moment Rise lost those hatches, they effectively lost the ability to hold on in the post plant. So, we'll see exactly what Rogue is going to do with this CEO setup. Rise's entry is going to come over from the skylight side of things. They have a mirror window at their facing them, inside of Janitor. And now finally England will join the party as well, with Hyper watching. It's a formality to get these CEO walls. Very few teams will actually contest them. You saw that there was, for a period of time, quite a bit of impact tricking, but you're not usually going to bring a bandit or a mute in this circumstance to try and keep those charges from going off. You give up those walls and you fight afterwards.
Yeah, and a lot of teams, you mentioned, used to bring impact in this situation. Lesion has not been played at all, actually, so far, which is pretty darn interesting, I have to say. But still, Beastly will find one on vertical, and we've seen so much of that vertical play as well, just with people repelling and playing the outside. And Ghost will find a second one on the cliffs. Turns it with 3v4. Still advantage for Rise Nation, as Ghost using the Jackal tracking wonderfully there. Just destroying the hatch and looking on down the CCTV. Slash still in the meantime sitting up in a better position here to chuck up any of his smoke canisters into the back, as smoke grenades will be coming in. And the canisters in response. Vandal will find one uneasily, still repelled on the windows. The shuttle tries to fight in the main lobby, but he's got to worry about any players that are still on the repel. And Ghost will actually land the diffuser, take a bit more damage by the smoke canister. The C4 is going to get thrown up. Will not connect as he spots the repel on the side. Beastly will get the kill on his shuttle. It's all up to Slash, all in his own, and Hyper finds a mechanic. Wow. Rise Nation effectively control the attack in this situation because there's no one contesting them. They just open up the wall and basically walk right in to try and make it happen. The Mira wall was set up very well to contest in Janitor, but it's not going to give you any info on anybody on the site itself. And smokes on their own are not going to shut it all down.
Now, forgive me if I haven't been paying the most attention to every single way that Rise has been using their attacking lineup, but it does appear that Vandal has taken a more forward fragging role with the way that he's played so far today. Barring Ghost's killing spree on the stairs, Ghost has largely been playing more support-oriented roles and has been there to help his team through other means. I don't know if that just speaks to Rise thinking they can get more out of Vandal on the roles that he's in, whether they rely on Vandal to be able to get those fragging roles. Keep in mind that for most of the defenses, Vandal was playing on-site and not roaming and not playing quite aggressively. In fact, it was England, actually, who was fragging well on defense alongside Hyper. And I think one of the biggest issues that Rise has had so far this season is replacing not just somebody of Vertical's caliber, but somebody who can comfortably fit those roles. Vertical's a very flexible player. Rogue puts him on fragging operators. If you put Vertical on an Ash, if you put Vertical on an IQ, he can more than pull his own weight. Look at his performance last week in particular for Rogue. Vertical dropped almost 20 kills. I think he finished with 19, which is an astonishingly high number.
5 seconds
and a
left.
number that we're going to see more of now that the rounds number have increased, the round amount has increased. But overall, still, it looked like Rogue was playing a lot more comfortable around Vertical. For Rise Nation, I'm not exactly sold that Ghost is a fit to that fragging role, because Hyper obviously needs somebody to be able to play off as well. And because of how top-heavy Rise can be, if Hyper can't get going, then that's a problem. But so far, the changes that Rise have made with both Vandal on attack and then England on defense, it's paid dividends for the whole team. And they're able to keep step with what was one of the best teams in North America that has been languishing so far through this first half of the season.
Yep. Might say they're unable to rise through the ranks so far. Oh, okay. Vertical finds Ghost. So again, the repel this time is not going to work out. The long-range ACOG play with the Doc is going to be very effective here to deal with Rise's, well, big operator in this case. At least Ghost was able to do a decent chunk of work, really eliminating off any roamers that dared to defy Rise Nation. Hyper will have to walk on up on his own, not even a drone. And look at that, he's going to have to face 3 players in the back. So got to be very, very careful how he approaches this. And finally, a drone will be coming in for the IQ of Beastly on the opposite end. No contention just yet from the defenders against him. Hyper at least takes the slow way around, trying to find a longer angle to contest. He's still afraid. Remember, there are no drones to give him info, and doesn't need it. Vertical is going to go down, at least equalizing the amount of players on this side. There is Slash though, trying to come in from behind and actually spray in and find the kill on Vandal. He can drop in and almost taken down. Rise. It's a big kill there, still on the mute. You lose out on the C4. Was that a worthwhile trade? I gotta say yes. Take down the Bucket, take down the Jackal, and little health left on Hyper. It's all looking good for Rogue.
Yeah, you come out really well in terms of attacking composition for Rogue. These operators are really something, and Beastly getting a reset on the Hyper. Hope that there's nobody there to prey upon the down member above. With Rogue right now, having this pulse in play is paramount. You keep that pulse alive for quite a while, and the pulse is able to just continuously stay on that heartbeat sensor, the cardiac sensor, and the only person that can really counter him is the man that we are looking upon right now. That is Beastly. He can possibly take care of the pulse. Rise will need to transition in towards their execute. Knowing where the castle is located, that's a freebie for England, as easily doesn't even bother to move. He just gets softened up on the side, and all those bullets shredding through the arm of the castle will give an advantage in Rise Nation's favor. They're looking to regain the lead in this match, and it's one in which they have an opportunity to walk away with their first set of points on the season. Their entry will come through the open hole just next to the teller's wall, and Hyper will watch as the plant goes down. There is a C4 available from Eclipse. He'll need to be tagged out. It looks like the C4 might have actually missed, and a missed throw from Eclipse as he gets down, but there's Shuttle on the flank. He picks up 2, and despite the diffuser being down, if Eclipse can give information to Beastly, then this becomes a very winnable situation for Rogue. Beastly sitting above, just very patiently. Shuttle on the move. He doesn't see him. Oh, Beastly, no! What are you doing? Looking down, not anticipating Shuttle. And a very easy disable as he clears for the Claymore. And Rogue gifted around from the heavens. And Shuttle's 3K. AK 3K. Shuttle will take the round. And Rogue will regain the lead with Rise's best opportunity being tossed by the wayside.
I don't know what to say. Honestly, it is just an astonishing level of skill in that situation for the Legion to realize, keep calm under fire. This is something that not a lot of players are able to really do effectively. And in this situation, Legion realizes what's going on, knows that not all 3 players were looking down the same hallway. What does he do? Takes his time, goes upstairs. He knows there's so much time on that plant. You can just go up and contest the IQ, and that is indeed his best shot at winning the round. No information given the IQ in the back, no drones, no nothing. Unfortunately, the advantage wasted there, but Rise, the round's going to be one up for the tellers here. We'll see Rogue going back down to CCTV. Man, that was a hell of a play.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
You really have to feel for Rise in that situation, because it's been a thing with every one of their games. Whenever they find a footing in their match, it's just rounds like this happen, and they're not always able to recover from it mentally. And this is, again, the mental game is not something we can really describe very well, because it is such a subjective thing that we cannot really put into numbers or words. These are just things that affect people's mentality in the back of their heads, and it eats at certain people more than others. And if you see that there's players on your team that are suddenly demoralized because of that sort of play, well, you're not going to feel as good as you used to when you were winning those rounds and putting them on the board.
That's a major momentum killer for Rise Nation as well, as they had picked up that very important win on CEO. And Rise have actually been doing very well on attack so far. 3 rounds in, they've gotten 3 diffusers down. They've looked a lot more sure of themselves than they did on defense. I think that's pretty easy to see. They made quick work and quick entry of their ability to get inside and then get towards the site itself. A bit of a difficult task, though, with lockers being the site for this round, because Rogue guarantees themselves a point with a victory here on this round in particular, and Rise will struggle if they're not able to make it a fast entry towards the site. They need to get those walls open. England needs to be there, and they need to try and waste the utility from Rogue as quickly as they can.
To give you insight on Rise's position so far, in playdays 2, 3, and 4, they've gotten the same amount of rounds that they've gotten in this one match against Rogue.
Yep.
So you can tell they have been feeling very, very struggle. Like it's just been a bit of a struggle for the team. And here, being able to do this, they get so close, and yet that victory is so far. They have to keep it together. But very efficient time management from Rise Nation, immediately opening up the hatch. England will continue to drone in with Vandal in front, and will spot that the defense is set mostly in the rear. That makes a lot of sense, because if you didn't know, you can chuck C4s from a long distance, even playing all the way behind the red hallway. You can very easily lob smokes and C4s into any defender that's looking to plant in this position.
This is a grenade that's going to get topped, and it's right on top of Shuttle. Say goodbye to the smoke. Rogue will lose a very important prong and what will be a three-pronged strategy to try and hold Rise Nation's push off. Easily will be the next one with the very long angle on the ACOG, nestled inside of Garage just by the loading docks. He can see all the way through those bars. That's a tough angle to hit, and Easily going to sustain a little bit of damage as another grenade goes in, and that entire wall that would keep the C4 playing defender safe will disappear, but Eclipse not only gets the C4 off, takes a little bit of damage, but also eliminates Vandal. The Buck will have both of his frag grenades off the board, but he'd already used both of them, so the utility, not that important. All things considered, this is going well for Rogue. Easily creeps on up. Oh, he's going to take one. A second as Ghost peeks a little too aggressively. Plant will need to go down, but the dock is still there. He's been promoted. England running up towards the opening. Beastly and England will counterpunch 2v2, but running out of time. They're going to have to fight for frags. They don't know where Rogue is. Rogue completely and safely inside a sight as no choice, but England will need to start the plant. Vertical shreds through Beastly and England will be very exposed. And Vert, once teammates, now enemies, we get the very final kill and secure Rogue with 1 point. And at worst, a draw here is England, a man of poor circumstance, doing what he could with the plant. But that 7 seconds, too long to hold Rogue off. Match point.
The tragic life of a support player in that position, to say the least. That's why it's not always easy to quantify the effect that these players and operators in general have on every single one of these rounds in professional play. But Rogue, again, on the cusp of victory, map, and match point. So give him an extra 3 points, which is definitely something they've been looking for quite a bit. I'll put them still in contention and have them in that 4th position. They'll have 7 points on the board. 1 above Accelerate, who actually played later on today against Space Station Gaming. So if history is anything to tell, they tied against Space Station and they tie Rogue, right? That's how it's supposed to happen. At least that's how the script dictates so far. But potentially final round here for Rogue. As guess what? They're going to try their hands at CEO. And of course, easily you're running the Mira in this situation. Have some extra information to play off of. Bulletproof camera as well will be something you have to worry about if you're Rise Nation.
10 seconds left.
Bringing the Thermite, it's going to be uncontested basically with what Rogue are bringing so far. I wouldn't be surprised if we'll see other Ghosts running around trying to find any roamers, or at least repelling on these windows outside that a lot of players have been doing by the garage or even by the front door, the entrance of the bank, just because you can, if not get kills, at least pressure your opponents to stay inside of the site, and that's where you allow yourself to go for a plant or pick them off by the window, and there you go. Hyper gets a freebie early on, taking down easily.
Oh no, Liv must have looked a little bit too aggressively around the Mira window inside of CEO, and does not bode well for Rogue here, at least to start off this round. There's at least one more after this round should Rise prevail, which would put us on our 12th round, which would be using every single bit of land that both teams had at their disposal. Still, Rise can recover, albeit they will need to do so quite gracefully. They started off with that pick onto Easily, taking the Mira out. One of the C4s from Rogue will fall, though, on CEO. A C4 is somewhat required. If a plan is going down behind the desk, it stands to reason that one of those throwables will come out, which will allow you to take the planter down. That'll put a lot of the weight on Shuttle's shoulders, as he will hold the only other nitro cell that's available for Rogue. Also, interestingly enough, those 2 CEO walls that I mentioned that usually get contested, well, they've been opened up by Rogue. So this will make it much more difficult for Rise to be able to get and enter in towards the site. Using the blast to open up this castle barricade, Slash, as well as Hyper, will be in a battle to the death. Hyper not moving at all, and Slash, a potential crossfire on him. As a frag grenade goes out, and Slash will head for the hills. That's the right call to make.
Oh, the finisher! Hyper's on the floor! Beautiful play from Slash here to at least equalize the amount of players, but he takes so much damage, gets dropped on the floor. Vertical can pick him up in this position. You see the castle barricades trying to protect the smoke as best as possible, but Vertical gets dropped. He's gonna try to pick himself up. There you go, Stim Pistol will be used, and will he decide to pick up his teammate? Should be. When he goes for, unfortunately, too slow, and Vandal will get the kill on Slash. Stim Pistol unfortunately not reloaded fast enough, but Ghost will find one. Vertical, the refrag, taking down Beastly. The Fuser in the meantime, though, will go down for Rise. Eclipse looking for a run-up by the Skylight Stairs. He's Gonna be vertical to create a bit of a distraction. You see the castle barricades are now working against the defense. It's walking out, unfortunately. Oh, hit England. Will get shot down. 3 players all looking down into vertical as he gets cornered into janitor and gets shot down. Rise Nation 1 round away from a tie, oddly enough.
And very, very close to doing so. This will force Rogue to have to go to either tellers or open area, given that lockers is locked, or possibly roll the die on CEO yet again. Rise is 2 for 2 on CEO, whereas Rogue won their lone tellers defense. That's where I would go. But keep in mind, Shuttle was really what won Rogue that round.
Yes.
On the wonderful 3K flank to take them down 1 by 1 by 1 in the post plant. You can't really count on that. You can't really strategize around that when you're looking at this round in particular. So with Rogue going back to tellers and archives, you'd imagine that they will need to be playing a bit smarter and a bit safer, because a couple of the rounds that Rogue have lost, it's been because of somebody on the team has gone down way too early. Easily on that round in particular. Hyper was shooting through a barricade. Might have even gotten a lucky bullet pen kill onto Easily for all we know. That's bad luck. But you also shouldn't be in a position as a defender that you could possibly get sprayed down that early into a round.
Yeah, we saw the smoke there at the end was also down because of similar position. He was just caught off guard in a situation where he probably shouldn't have been. Vertical was downed as well as he tried to rescue said smoke from his position. Fortunately, he was taken out. Doc had to pick himself back up. Not enough time to reload a stim pistol to pick up his teammate, and you lost manpower for free there.
Attackers
Not a good spot to be in. And again, Rogue have the opportunity, if manpower is equal, to bring back a round. However, because they're losing players in these situations, it really gives Rise Nation a huge advantage. 3-2 when you're looking into so many, okay. 3-2 situation when you're looking into different angles to hold and each attacker is on a different position. It's not something that we can really deal with. Slash will find 1 kill, at least take down England, but it's Hyper to refrag. Slash actually will take 1 and make that 2. What are they doing? Running right into Rogue's gunfire. And Rise might have just thrown this entire round away, but Slash will get shot down. Basically, with a bit of damage done to him through the rotation hole, his vertical will find 1, and it's all done. Shuttle takes down Beastly, and the rush just completely shut down. Oh man, if you're Rise in this situation, it all went wrong from second number 1. 7-5 victory for Rogue on Bank, and man, I have to feel for Rise in this position. Still, the only team to not have a single point on the board.
There's a lot of criticism that teams will get for going and getting very aggressive. Rush plays, that kind of thing. Doesn't always work out all that well. But to do it on match point, when you've been largely capitalizing off of Rogue making mistakes, you go and you hand them a number of mistakes on your own part, which is a lack of droning.
Yep.
A lack of proper strategy. A lack of any real significant coordination. And Rogue meets that head on. Almost all of Rise Nation entering through that electrical closet on the main floor. Going into Skylight Stairwell. And then just getting gunned down. As it was a recreation of Saving Private Ryan's opening scene. It was
brutal.
It was brutal, and it was swift, and they barely were able to get up the beach in that regard. So, Rise Nation taking a huge risk, a massive risk, when you have the best opportunity that you've had almost all season to be able to get points on the board. Mind you, it would have only been 1. But given how low in the scoreboard or standings Rogue has been, your victory is not so much that you get 1 point. Your victory is that you keep Rogue at bay.
Yes.
Because Rogue's window to make it to LAN is closing very quickly already. Given how competitive Reciprocity has been, given how competitive Dark Zero has been, given the walloping that EG has given almost every team in this region. And yeah, we have EG versus Reciprocity next, but Rogue are going to need to start winning, and they're going to need to start winning in a hurry. So a major victory for Rise is hold them to 1 point. You can't do that. You gambled it all on a rush strat. In hindsight, we could have been like, that's brilliant. But most of the time,
it doesn't work.
It's not a strategy you want to rely on.
No.
So we have Ranger to talk to for Rogue. He hasn't had a lot of interviews, so it's good to see you again. Congratulations so far.
Yeah, thank you. You have one scuffed webcam stream and they don't let you interview ever again. Or maybe it had to do with losing. Who knows?
Well, I mean, you how many points did you have so far? But no.
More now.
More now. How important was this match going in against Rise Nation?
Obviously, it was big. Like, we had a really slow start to the season. I think we kind of got caught up in trying to play a certain way that trying to focus on like how we won USN. And I think the meta shifted away from that, and it took us too long to adapt. But I think we're bringing that back on course. So obviously, every win's big when you're coming back from a slow start to the season.
Now, you mentioned the meta shifting. It definitely looks like the defense is just playing incredibly aggressive at every opportunity, as are the attackers. Were you caught off guard by some of the things that Rise Nation brought, particularly the shotgun pulse play of England downstairs in server, and then England's loose vigil play upstairs in trading? How many of those things did you anticipate, and how much of that is just simply a byproduct of where the game is right now?
Yeah, I'd say of the three kind of really aggressive things they did, they had the rush strat on the last round. They had England playing Vigil and with the lurk up top. And then they had obviously like the shotgun presence holding server. In the past, they've wanted to run double hard breach bans, it looks like, where there's been Maverick and Hibana gone in a lot of their games. That has happened in the invitational qualifiers and stuff like that. And I think that makes the server hold a lot stronger. But we were aware of the server hold. They swapped up who was playing it, but it didn't really make a difference for us. We were prepared for that. The rush strat, we knew they did that. The only one that I think was a big surprise was England upstairs in trading. We missed him on a drone, and he won the round for them single-handedly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How much of that was his ability being able to keep him cloaked and you just not doing due diligence, and how much of that was just a lack of droning in particular? Knowing how big Bank is, it's very easy to overlook a room or two, I'd imagine. Feel free to answer that, by the way.
Yeah. The drone missed him up top. It was called it was top clear, so there was no one holding for that, and he stepped out and got, I think, 3 or 4 kills from there before we could trade him out. So a mistake on our part and a good play on his to take advantage of that. So it happens.
Now, in the lead up to this interview, I said that your window to make LAN is closing very fast, at least through the first half of the season. I think a lot of people were saying that through the latter half of the previous season, and you still made it anyway. So you're known to pull miracles out when you need them the most. But moving forward for Rogue, you've got stiff competition because right now it doesn't look like Dark Zero, Reciprocity, or EG are really losing all that much. What's Rogue's prerogative moving forward? How do you improve upon what you've laid as your foundation? And how do you guarantee that over the next 8 games or so that are remaining in the season that you're going to have better fortunes than you've had so far?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the big thing is that there are still 8 games left. We do have a long season. It's not over yet. We're not even at the halfway point. We still have a great opportunity to start bringing points back in the table, and it just matters that we continue to stay strong and win. Obviously, we got to win a lot of games in the second half of the season. So if we stay true to what we know is the best way we can play right now, and with what's going on, if we continue to improve on that, obviously we just went through a style swap, and with playing 2 games a week, if you're not playing well on a weekend, that can cost you 6 points in the table all at once with this really compressed schedule we have at the first half of the season. So unfortunately, we didn't have a ton of time to fix our issues, but we're turning things around now, and we look to have a strong second half of the split.
Well, like you said, there's still 8 matches left, plenty of opportunity, and last season you performed quite a miraculous sprint to the finish to get that spot and looked, as you have for so long, one of the best teams in the entire world. Congratulations on your match victory today. Anything to say before the end of the interview?
Yeah, just thanks to everyone who tuned in on Twitter to watch the scoreboard, and I hope you guys enjoy the VOD.
Thank you very much, Tristan. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks.